All
Good
right.
morning, everybody. Welcome to another Studio Jumpstart session with Steph and Sarah, and welcome to August. Before we begin today, I just wanted to say that Steph and I had a brilliant idea. So, to this video, we'll be adding an after studio session chat that we have, and there's some videos on the Creative Nectar YouTube channel that are our after studio session chats. What we're going to do is we're going to pause the video. We're going to do our own studio session, and then we'll come back onto video and we'll do an after studio chat. So if you are feeling like you want to continue to work, you'll need to pause the video, or else you're just going to get us yakking away at each other. And work as long as you want in your studio, and then hit pause, hit play again, and join us in our studio chat. Does that make sense to everybody? What's going to happen? Cool. So the jump start starts with a writing prompt, a sensing exploration, and then we move into scribbling. We'll write for 2 minutes. Steph will ring her little magic bell to let you know that's over. I'll lead a sensing exploration, and from there we'll go into scribbling. So, are you ready to begin? You'll need your journal and a pencil. You might want to get your scribbling stuff set up nearby so that you can do that. And the writing prompt we're going to work with today is: when I feel deeply okay about myself, I. So, the sensing exploration this morning is attending to the deeply okay place. It's a place most of us have separated from, but it does exist at all times. It might just be in your big toe, it might be in your ear. And so, kind of coming back to your writing, I'm going to have you close your eyes and kind of think about, what did I experience when I take in deeply okay? Is there a resistance? Is there a place in my body where there's even resistance to that? Is there a place in my body where I do feel deeply okay? And just notice which one of them has the most energy for you. It might be the resistance place. For me, my deeply okay often lives underneath my resistance. So check in. What has the most energy? And then bring your hand to that place. Breathing naturally, just let your hand make contact without telling a story about what's there. And then slowly begin to attend to that place by just tapping it gently. Just to say hello, I acknowledge you. And as you tap, notice, does the tapping want to go someplace else? Does it want to get harder in the place it is? Does it ripple out around that place? And tap there as long as there's energy for that place to receive the tapping. And then notice where your fingers might want to move next. Might want to get harder, kind of waking up those places, saying hello to them. And letting the energy of the tapping move you into scribbling. Noticing a place that if there were a paintbrush attached there, or a pen, or however your hands maybe, whatever you're working with this morning to scribble, see if there's an energy there that informs the scribble. And move towards your scribble and scribble as long as the energy's there, noticing as it changes. And this is where we're going to leave you and go off and do our own studio time, but we'll be back. If you want to continue working on your scribble or move into your wisdom book or visual journal or however you're working, you might want to pause us right now. If you don't, you'll get our studio chat, but continue to work if that's what's up for you, and we'll see you on the flip side. Okay, we're back.
Yay!
So I'm going to check in with Steph, but if you're still with us, check in with yourself. So how was this morning for you, Steph?
It was good. The sensing exercise that you had us do was surprising because you asked, where is it? I'm paraphrasing now, but where is that deeply okay spot in you, like in your body?
Mm-hmm.
And then you said, or you may feel deeply not okay. And I realized that's what I was feeling in my stomach area, which is where I hold everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost brought tears to my eyes. It just was amazing. And then as I worked with it and tapped, and I was also sort of like just holding it too. it started to gradually like loosen, and then I could feel that okayness.
Mm-hmm.
It was just really, it was really good, and the writing was spot on. And it just reminds me that that can flow from one second to the next of
Right.
how I feel, and that's okay. But just to be aware of it is pretty fundamental and huge for me.
Mm-hmm. And in that kind of weird, ironic way I like things, sometimes I think deeply okay is really letting yourself feel whatever you feel.
God, yes.
You know, as I shared with you before we began this session, that I had a disagreement this morning with my partner, and and that sort of sense of it, of things aren't okay, and as I was coming to the studio, I was thinking, but this deeply okay thing is ours.
Mm-hmm.
It's maybe where our true self is.
Mm-hmm.
And that other stuff that happens, my pissiness, agitation, my being treated unfairly, whatever it is, that's a distraction.
Yeah.
And what I find, and it's what I've found in the potency of our weekly getting togethers with the writing and the scribbling and the silence, is that quiet allows me to drop into the okay place, even if it's, like I said, just in my big toe.
Mm-hmm.
And can I celebrate that?
Yeah. And just the awareness of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, can I celebrate just the fact that I'm aware of it, one way or the other?
Right. And then something like you talked about with your stomach, something loosens. I felt it this morning here. And, just tapping there gently and then realizing it wanted to radiate out and around. And the scribbling was surprising to me, because often my scribble feels like it wants to go circular. And so while I was doing that, also water and paint were dripping. And I have to say the dripping felt was so right. It was just like drip, drip, big red drips. and then to come back and enter the territory of something that's almost complete, and being sort of so okay with what happened this morning, the drips on the scribble, and that even this place where it doesn't seem big and expressive, but it's small and finishing, I felt like I could be so fully present for it.
Mm.
Rather than had I come back to the studio and just tried to be present for it. And not get to that deep okayness about how the morning unfolded, what my reaction to it was, what my coming back to myself was. Does all that make sense?
Totally. Yeah.
I know. Sometimes I feel like, am I speaking Greek?
No, it totally does. In fact, I wrote something similar because, well, when going back to how you were saying you had a disagreement and not okayness about that, but technically everything is okay because the okayness is that deep us. It's me. That's where the okayness lies.
Yeah.
And it's underneath all of the other bullshit, honestly. And sometimes it doesn't feel like bullshit, and sometimes it seems really, really hard. And that's what I wrote about. It can be feeling really, really hard, and to have that deep down feeling that, and it's still going to be okay.
Yeah. And I'm going to be okay.
And I'm going to be okay. I am okay.
I am okay. And the big one for me is this moment in a disagreement, in frustration, whatever it is, where I have this momentary explosion with myself. I'm not defined by that.
Mm.
that doesn't define me. It's something that's occurring, but it doesn't define me. And if I can remember that in the moment, this doesn't define the future, it doesn't define me, then I get, it's that level of self-forgiveness, and that often will open that deeply okay place to me, where it's like, okay, that was a moment, or as David Byrne would say, another tiny apocalypse in my daily living. And and then that sort of sense of, not that I disconnect from it, but how can I meet it? How can I meet it differently?
Right.
Then going into the story of how it defines me. This says something about me. It says something about my relationship. It says something about, and it's like to come in and have a prompt that just brings it in, and then the scribble and the sensing and then the working. It's like, oh, okay, I'm okay in this. And I think what I find hilarious is, why do we think we're going to get it all smoothed out and then we'll be okay?
Right. That's the big myth.
Mm-hmm.
That there is a final end, pot of gold at the end of the rainbow type of scenario, when really it's just figuring out that we can.
The pot of gold here now.
The pot of gold is here now. It always has been. Yeah. It just does. Yeah. Yeah.
Duh. But we all need to be reminded of it.
Yeah. For me, constantly. That's why I have to do this.
Yeah. There's so much pulling at us all the time, the internal and the external, and how do we keep returning to that place, which then we get to really own it, and it's ours.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you.
I needed this morning.
Oh my God, so did I, as always.
So thank you, everybody, for joining us. We hope, our greatest hope is that you also had a rich experience in moving through this process with us and taking some time to reflect on what moved in you and finding images and words to go with it. And we'll see you in a month.
See you in a month.
Bye.